She thought she had found peace at the table of her enemies, but the glass in her hand carried more than wine. It carried betrayal. And while Lagos gossiped, the city itself was about to turn against her. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because part 3 will show you how far the elites will go to destroy Amara. By dawn, the photos were everywhere, on blogs, on WhatsApp statuses, on gossip shows. Amara's face filled the city. A blurry shot of her raising a glass at the golden palm, her lips close to the rim, frozen forever in scandal. The captions were merciless. Billionaire's hawker got drunk in elite club. So this is Tunde's Cinderella, shameless. Traffic light girl turns into traffic light mess. The city, hungry for drama, swallowed it whole. When Amara arrived at her small kiosk later that day, she found it surrounded. Reporters shoved microphones at her face, flashing cameras blinding her eyes. Neighbors who once smiled now jeered. "Tell us, Amara, how much are you charging the billionaire per night?" one reporter barked. "Is this your plan all along, to trap him?" another pressed. Amara's hands shook as she tried to cover her face. The weight of the lies crushed her chest, her breath coming in shallow bursts. A bottle crashed against her stall, shattering at her feet. "Gold digger, stay in the gutter where you belong," someone screamed. She broke. Tears blurred her vision, her voice cracking as she whispered, I never wanted any of this." And then the crowd fell silent. Engines roared. Tunde's convoy pulled up, sleek SUVs blocking the street, doors flinging open. Guards pushed the reporters back as the billionaire himself stepped out, his presence commanding, his eyes burning. Without hesitation, he walked to Amara, put his arm around her trembling shoulders, and pulled her close. "Enough," he thundered, his voice carrying over the chaos. "If you want to come after her, then come through me." The cameras flashed wildly. The city gaped. The untouchable had not only chosen her in private, but he had defended her in public. But behind the walls of mansions and luxurious suites, Ajoke, Iyabo, and Kechi watched the scene unfold on their screens. Their fury deepened, their resolve hardened. If Amara thought the city's mockery was the worst, she had no idea what storms were still gathering. The backlash did not stop at the streets. It climbed higher, into the glass towers of Ikoyi, into the whispers of boardrooms, and finally into the mansion of the Williams family itself. That evening, Tunde's phone buzzed with a message from his mother. "Come home, now." When he arrived, the grand sitting room was already thick with tension. His father sat stiffly in a wide leather chair, a glass of brandy untouched in his hand. His mother paced near the window, her wrapper tied tightly as if bracing for battle. "Tunde," his father said without preamble, his voice low but sharp. "What madness is this?" Tunde met his gaze evenly. "If you mean Amara..." "Amara?" His mother whirled, her eyes blazing. "A hawker? A girl from the streets? Do you know how people are laughing at this family, at me, at the name your father built?" "They can laugh," Tunde replied calmly, though his jaw tightened. "Their laughter does not decide my life." His father slammed the glass onto the table, the sound sharp as thunder. "You are not a boy anymore. You are the heir to an empire. This embarrassment will ruin us. Investors are watching, politicians are talking, and you," he jabbed a finger in Tunde's direction, "you are dragging us into the gutter for a girl who sells water on the street." For a long moment, silence filled the room. The weight of their expectations pressed against him, heavy as chains. But then Tunde straightened, his voice steady, his words cutting through the tension like a blade. "If you want me to choose between her and your empire, then hear me clearly. I will walk away from every coin, every contract, every piece of this fortune before I walk away from Amara." Her mother gasped. Her father's face turned to stone. "You would throw away everything," he said coldly, "for her?" Tunde's eyes did not waver. For her. The silence after his words was colder than the marble floors beneath his feet. His parents turned away, their verdict unspoken but heavy. If he chose Amara, he would stand alone. But even as he left that house, the determination in his chest only burned hotter. Because if even his own blood turned against him, then he knew Amara needed him now more than ever. In the quietest corners of Lagos, where chandeliers gleamed over polished marble and laughter hid sharpened knives, the women Tunde had once rejected gathered again. Ajoke poured champagne into slender glasses, her smile tight. "The city may have swallowed her act for now, but we know what Lagos does best: destroy." Iyabo leaned forward, her bracelets clinking softly. "The blogs are already ours. One whisper from us and her name will rot faster than fish in the sun." Nkechi's eyes glittered as she pulled out her phone. "Then let's feed them a story they can't resist." Within days, new headlines poisoned the feeds. Hawker girl's hidden past revealed. Amara exposed, gold digger since age 16. Sources confirm she once worked in a bar, and worse. Doctored pictures surfaced, Amara standing near men she had never met, her image crudely spliced into lounges she had never entered. A fake ID card appeared online, stamped with scandalous details. The city roared. Neighbors who once pitied her now spat insults. Strangers crossed the street to avoid her. At the market, a woman hissed, "So this is who you are, pretending to be innocent while you fooled our son of wealth." Amara's hands trembled as she held one of the fake papers, her heart twisting. "This isn't me," she whispered, but her protests drowned beneath the noise. Late that night, she broke. Tears spilled onto her mat as she buried her face in her palms. "Why, God? Why me? What did I do to deserve this?" When Tunde arrived, he found her shaking, the forged headlines scattered across the floor. She looked up at him, her voice cracking. "Is this worth it? Am I worth this much pain?" For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he crossed the room, knelt before her, and took her face in his hands. "You are worth everything," he said, his tone like steel, "and they will regret the day they thought lies could bury truth." But outside, in glittering halls and hidden clubs, the elites were already preparing their final strike, one that would drag Amara into the heart of their trap. The city was still buzzing with scandal when invitations went out for the Williams Foundation Charity Gala.
It was the kind of event where Lagos's elite paraded themselves in sequined gowns and tailored tuxedos, where cameras flashed like lightning and fortunes were displayed in jewels. The elites believed Tunde would not dare to show his face, not with Amara's name drowning in disgrace. Ajoke and her circle even whispered it with smug smiles. "He will come crawling back to us. He has no choice." But that night, when the red carpet unfurled, Lagos gasped. Tunde stepped out of his black SUV, and by his side was Amara. She wore no diamonds, no designer gown, only a simple dress, white as moonlight, her natural hair tied neatly, her eyes steady, though her hands trembled.
Inside, she looked nothing like the women dripping in gold around her, and yet, somehow, she shone brighter. Cameras exploded. Journalists shoved forward, their voices rising. "Mr. Williams, is this your statement? Amara, are the rumors true? Why bring her here?" Tunde only tightened his grip on her hand, lifting it slightly for all to see. His voice rang clear over the chaos. "This is not gossip. This is not scandal. This is the woman I love." The crowd erupted, half in cheers, half in outrage. Socialites hissed behind jeweled fans. Some stormed away in disgust, their heels clicking like thunder across the marble floor. But Amara felt the ground steady beneath her for the first time in weeks. Standing at his side, she was no longer just a hawker girl in their eyes. She was his choice, undeniable, unshakable. Inside the gala, whispers followed them everywhere. Investors frowned, politicians muttered, bloggers tweeted furiously. But Tunde walked with his head high, his hand never leaving hers. At the edge of the ballroom, Ajoke, Iyabo, and Nkechi watched with venom in their eyes. "Let him have his little show," Ajoke hissed. "If he thinks walking her into our world proves anything, he is a bigger fool than she is." Nkechi's smile was cold, sharp as glass. "Then we strike harder, not with rumors, with something he cannot fight." Amara felt their gaze from across the room, a chill running through her spine. For every cheer, there was a hiss. For every smile, a dagger hidden behind it. And as the music swelled, she realized the war was no longer about whispers. It was about survival. The gala ended in a storm of flashbulbs and whispers. Tunde's bold declaration dominated every headline, every trending hashtag. Some called it romance, others called it madness. But to the elites, it was war. That night, as Tunde's convoy carried him and Amara back through the glittering city, the streets seemed quieter than usual. Too quiet. Amara leaned against the window, exhaustion heavy in her eyes. "Do you ever regret it?" she whispered. Tunde turned to her, his gaze steady. "Never. The only thing I regret is not finding you sooner." Before she could reply, a sudden roar shattered the calm. A dark sedan swerved from an alley, screeching into their path. Tires screamed, horns blared, guards shouted as brakes slammed. The convoy jerked to a halt. Then, crash! A brick hurtled through the night air, smashing against the SUV's windshield with a thunderous crack. Shards of glass exploded inward, spraying across the seats. Amara screamed, ducking into Tunde's arms as guards drew their weapons. Through the jagged hole in the glass, a hand reached in, not to grab, but to drop something. A folded note. Tunde snatched it before it hit the floor. His jaw tightened as he read the words scrawled in bold, jagged ink. "This
ends tonight. The sedan revved its engine once more before peeling away into the darkness, vanishing into the city. Inside the SUV, silence fell heavy. Amara's hands shook as she clung to Tunde's sleeves, her breath shallow. "They won't stop," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. "They won't rest until I'm gone." Tunde crushed the note in his fist, his eyes hard, his voice low but unyielding. "Then let them come. If this is the fight they want, they will see what happens when love refuses to kneel." The convoy roared back to life, speeding into the night. But Amara knew this was no longer about gossip or shame. This was survival. And so, under the shadows of Lagos, the war for love turned into a war for life itself. But what happened next would test not just their hearts, but their very survival. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because part 4 will bring you the shocking finale.